Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. I know it has been a minute and I do apologize for the little setup that we have going on. I'm actually not filming in my beauty room today. I have been loving being out here in my living room. I just feel like the lighting's a little bit better. It's more natural light, so that's what we're going to do today. So as you can see, we have three piles. In today's video, we are going to be focusing on what it is your higher self is wanting you to know or is trying to communicate to you during this time. This actually really spoke to me personally because I feel like lately something has been kind of just, I would say maybe like a little off internally, and I haven't been quite able to figure out what that is. And the more I kind of dove a little bit deeper, I realized I just kind of feel like it's my higher self trying to tell me something and I'm just not getting the messages. So once I, kind of meditated a little bit and I even did my own personal reading, I got the confirmation and the message that I needed to hear, just to kind of get myself out of that like little funk or, just situation that I've been in or that I kind of felt like I was in. And it has been super, super helpful. So I thought today's video would be really helpful for you guys in doing the same thing. And we're going to try to get in as much information as possible with the cards that I have selected for you guys today. So as I mentioned, we have three piles in which you can select from. We have pile number 1 with this beautiful rose. Look at that. So pretty. I actually just got some flowers the other day and they're just so stunning. And I was like, you know what, these I definitely want to use in the video. So that's what we're doing. For pile number 2, we have this gorgeous white rose. And then for pile number 3, we have another beautiful red rose. So go ahead and take a moment if you need to pause the video to meditate on which pile you are feeling most drawn to. As always, I will have the timestamps listed below in the description. So once you have made your selection, you can go ahead and fast forward to your reading. Again, we have pile number 1, 2, and 3, and I will see you guys at your pile selection. Hey group 1, so if you selected this rose, then this is going to be your reading. I've gone ahead and laid out all of your oracle cards and your tarot cards. The tarot deck that I'm using today is the True Heart Intuitive Tarot, which I have the booklet here. This is by Rachel True, and this is what we're going to be using for our tarot deck. So I want to start here with the tarot cards, and then we're going to go ahead and go through all the rest of the oracle cards to get the full message as to what it is your higher self is wanting you to know right now. So for your tarot cards, we have the Prince of Wands, we have the Nine of Wands, we have the Princess of Swords in reversed, and we have the Six of Swords in reversed, and we have the Queen of Wands upright. So this is pretty, I would say, kind of straightforward with you guys, group 1, in the sense that we seem to be almost like at a standstill here. I feel like intuitively or just kind of like innately, you kind of know what it is that you would like to do. You're like working towards something that has been maybe driving you, giving you like that sense of creativity, maybe something that you're very passionate about. However, because it's kind of taken a little bit of time, you're feeling like you are at a bit of a standstill. And what I mean by that is here with the Six of Swords in reversed and the Princess of Swords in reversed, this is telling me that either you're feeling like a sense of impatience or a sense of just like, why isn't it this happening? It's never going to happen. I've worked so hard to get to this point. And that's where I'm feeling with this Nine of Wands. It's like you're almost at that finish line. You're almost there. I mean, you even have the Prince of Swords there and you end with the Queen of Wands. So I will say your higher self ultimately wants you to know not to give up, not to quit, and not to feel like this was all for nothing, because it's not. And this is the energy that I recognize full-heartedly, like I was telling you guys earlier when, or at the beginning of the video, that I myself have been feeling like this weird kind of energy, and just like something's just been a little off. Something's just hasn't been, I don't know. It's just been just like a weird vibe, I guess, is like the best way I can describe it. And without even really realizing I had to look a little bit more inward and realize that this wasn't a forever situation, or I wasn't going to be stuck here this whole time. This was just part of my journey, and it's just part of the challenges that, we face sometimes. And I feel like sometimes we just need to hear that reminder, and your higher self is really just trying to reach out to you and let you know, hey, like it's going to be worth it. You're about to step into this Queen of Wands energy. So keep pushing forward, okay? Stop trying to limit yourself or telling yourself you're not going to achieve or you're not going to get there just because you might be feeling a little stagnant right now, okay? Now, going into the rest of your cards here, like I said, this was pretty straightforward, but going into the rest of your cards here, what I did pull out was I wanted to use the archetype cards. And in using these, I feel like this kind of taps into where we are feeling currently or where we're trying to get to. So you did have some cards that came up in the upright and you had some that came out in the reverse. So I want to read the positive attributes or the light attributes up top if they came up in the upright, and the shadow attributes that came out in the reversals. So starting with your first one, we have the gambler. And this light attribute is willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. Okay. So again, just kind of using that as your guiding force to kind of keep propelling you forward. And I feel like even with being like in this stagnant energy, kind of like what we talked about, you might be getting, some naysayers or some people kind of maybe doubting you because you're not maybe getting there as quickly as maybe you've talked about that you would. One thing I did forget to mention with the Princess of Swords, when it's in reverse, sometimes it's like we're all talk, right? And sometimes when we do that, it's more like we're trying to convince ourselves, right? So it's like, think of law of attraction, right? If I put it out there, I speak it into existence, it will happen, right? Well, it hasn't happened yet. And so perhaps you've maybe been boasting a little bit, or maybe you've been talking to other people like, yeah, I'm going to get here. I'm going to be making this much, or I'm going to be doing this or doing that. And it hasn't happened yet. And so you could be getting maybe some pushback from others. And if that's the case, screw them. Like, honestly, it's not something that you need to hold on to or use that as like a, what's the word I'm looking for? As something to just kind of like limit you or hold you back, like, oh shoot, maybe they are right. Cause no, they're not. Like, they don't know you. They're not on your journey. They're not on your, life path. This is you and your story, your journey. So if it's something you really, really want, and I see that here with the wands energy that you guys do have, this is a true passion of yours, keep going for it. Okay. So really listen to your gut, listen to your intuition, listen to your higher self, because that's who's trying to get in touch with you right at this moment and telling you it is going to be worth it. Okay. The next card that we have here is the priest, and the light attributes are facilitate spiritual commitments, serves as a channel of spiritual energy. Okay. So this makes me think kind of like you tapping into, again, that intuition and really being a little bit more, I would say, on the spiritual realm of tapping in with your higher self. So if you selected this video, there's a reason, because you're trying to connect with your higher self. So I feel like this is just a confirmation of you doing so, and really listening to the message here, and knowing that, again, this isn't going to, this energy that you're feeling, or this stagnant energy that you're feeling in right now, isn't going to be forever. This doesn't mean that you failed, or it doesn't mean that you're not going to get to where you are, but that you continue to move forward. And this, I think, connection or this confirmation that you're making by watching this is going to, I think, give you that sense of comfort with that. Okay. Now, your other two cards here that we have, these did come out in the reversal. So I'm going to be reading the shadow attributes of them. So we have Seeker. And this says inability to commit to a path once found. So again, this could be that feeling like you feel like you can't really stay committed, or that you are second guessing yourself if where you are going or the path that you're on is something that you should follow through on. Again, because maybe you're not seeing the outcome that you're wanting to see. It's not coming to you quick enough. And so it's like now you're second guessing, and was all of this for nothing? That's the one phrase I keep kind of hearing and I keep thinking of every time I see this Nine of Wands and this Six of Swords in reversed, the fact that I see those together, I just think of like, was all this for nothing? Did I just waste my time? Am I not going to amount to what I thought I was going to do? And so if that is the case, be wary of that, because that, again, I feel like is just fear. That's just that limiting belief, just trying to keep you in this maybe place of comfort, because obviously when we go and experience that success or those things that we're trying to chase after that we haven't experienced before, it's that fear of the unknown. We don't know if we're going to succeed or if we're going to fail, right? But the only way we will fail is if, we didn't really try or really didn't give it our full effort. So definitely keep that in mind. The next one that we have is engineer. So your shadow attribute for this is reliance on a mechanistic solution. I honestly feel like I'm butchering this. Solutions without regard for emotional consequences. Okay. So again, you're kind of relying on certain situations just to kind of maybe figure themselves out without maybe putting a lot of effort in, or maybe changing the way that you're doing things, as part of your growth, so this is just kind of reminding you, don't stay too comfortable, don't stay too stagnant in that energy, because it might require you to maybe change things up a little bit, or just so that way you can maybe learn a little bit more, grow a little bit more, so that way you get to your end result. Okay. Now, going into the rest of your oracle cards, I did pull a wisdom of the oracle, just trying to see what it is, what's the knowledge, what's the wisdom that you're trying to, learn from all of this, besides, just, sticking with it. Again, very straightforward, go the distance. So I love this card because it literally is showing, look, you're almost there. You're almost at the finish line. You're almost touching it. Okay. You just have to keep going. You have to keep propelling yourself forward. A lot of your cards are all, if you notice, a lot of them are looking forward. They're looking in this direction. They're not looking backwards. They're looking forward. Okay. So even this guy, even though he's turned upside down, he's still looking this way, so keep that in mind, that this is just part of the journey. This doesn't mean that you're going to, again, stay in this energy forever. You're not going to be stuck. You're not going to, not amount to it unless you try, unless you keep going. That is the biggest thing here. Okay. Now, I did want to pull you a couple additional cards as to what it is that you need to surrender during this time. What is it that we need to let go of, maybe to help us get that much closer to, this Queen of Wands energy, this goal that we're trying to reach, right? So your first card that we have is surrender to play. Take a break from overthinking a goal. Do something fun. Play is a time of recreation and rejuvenation. Okay. So this would help so much, especially in that stagnant energy that we've been talking about. I feel like pretty much this whole reading. If you have not given yourself a moment to just play, do something simple, do something fun, whether it's playing a video game, whether it's doing a crossword puzzle, going outside, going for a walk, literally anything that you find pure joy in doing, where you don't really have to think a whole lot. You can just play and you're having fun. Do it. Honestly, I think it would just help out so much and just kind of reignite, I think, that passion within you too. The next one that we have is surrender to the beauty of the natural world. Take a relaxing break and spend time in nature. Replenish yourself by feeling the beauty and the ecstasy there. Okay. So this again could just be you taking a walk outside, going for a hike, something where you are outside now that it's springtime, especially here in the US. It is so beautiful now. Everything is blooming. Everything looks so nice. And I don't know, personally, I enjoy being outside more now, especially during springtime. Not so much summer, springtime. Spring and fall are my favorite seasons personally. And honestly, I find that like when I am outside and I am connecting with nature, I just feel that sense of calm, that zen-like energy. And again, similar to the surrender to play, it's just going to help, I think, get you out of this funk, out of this situation to where you feel like things are going to feel more possible rather than impossible. Okay. Now, your last two cards are the self-care oracle cards of what you can do just to give yourself a little bit extra self-care besides the what you could do to surrender. These are things that you can do as well, that might speak to you, and one of them is music. So if you are somebody who really vibes with music, like certain songs, that speak to you, that you really need to listen to, really listen to, like the lyrics, they have just strong meaning behind them, that might be something, to do during this time to help as well. Or even if you're somebody like me where you just like calm, relaxing, like spa music or, just like yoga music. I personally like to hear that when there's like no lyrics and it's just like the very calming, soothing, even sometimes just like the water, things like that. It really helps calm me down, especially when I'm having such like a rough day or I just need to get rebalanced. Listening to that honestly really, really helps. So I love that that came up for you guys. And then we also have connect with fire. Definitely do this safely, of course. Whether this is burning some candles, burning some incense, or, just being at like a bonfire, or if you have a fire pit, things like that, just getting nice and cozy, having a nice fire burning. And honestly, I feel like just the warmth of that will help, again, just give you like that nice, calming, relaxing environment that I feel like you just kind of need to create for yourself, during a time where it just maybe feels a little blah. So that's pretty much all that I'm seeing for you guys, group one. I hope this was helpful. I feel like this was very, very straightforward for you guys, but just know that you are almost there. Just hang in there a little bit longer. You're gonna reach your finish line, and I promise you it is going to be worth it. So I'm super happy for you guys. Definitely let me know in the comments down below if this resonated with you. I would love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed today's video, please go ahead and consider giving it a thumbs up, as it truly helps out my channel. I want to thank you guys seriously so, so much for watching, and we're going to go ahead and move on to our next group. Hey, group two. So if you selected the white rose, then this is going to be a reading. I've gone ahead and laid out all of your cards. So we're going to go ahead and start here with your tarot cards, and then we will go through the rest of your oracle cards. So for your tarot cards today, we have the Ten of Pentacles, we have the Death card, followed by the Ten of Wands in reversed. We have the Seven of Pentacles and the Empress. So kind of like the first group, group two, you guys have a very direct, I feel like, specific message as to what your higher self really wants you to know. And what I mean by that is, I'm not going to lie, as I was shuffling and I was going through your tarot cards, I realized like this is a very specific message. Obviously, I know this is a general reading, so please just take it how you will. But it is, to me, pretty apparent, especially with the rest of your cards that did come out. I just feel like this was very, very specific. So just wanted to keep that in mind. If it doesn't feel like it resonates with you, please feel free to go ahead and, choose a different pile. But again, I just wanted to be very transparent with that. So starting off, what I mean by why this is so specific and what it is that your higher self is really wanting you to know right now is that you, I feel like, are at a point where there is a sense of frustration, in, I feel like, wanting something that has not happened yet. And what I mean by that, just to be a little bit more specific, is I feel like for some of you, or even many of you, especially if you selected this pile, you've been wanting to try to have a family or start a family. And I feel like for some of you, you've been feeling a little defeated that it hasn't happened yet, or it hasn't happened maybe at the time that you thought it would. Because for many of you, I feel like you have this idea in your mind of like when things were supposed to happen. And what I mean by that is maybe you thought like, okay, I would be married by this time, I would have kids by this age, I would be at, the pinnacle of my career at this age, whatever. It was almost like you had like a set timeline of like when you wanted to achieve these goals by. And For some of you, obviously that hasn't happened. Maybe you haven't met the person that you wanted to, marry yet. You have, or for others, it's that you haven't been able to conceive at the time that you wanted to conceive. And the reason why I say that, why there's a strong emphasis on a family, is because you have the Ten of Pentacles, which that ultimately represents kind of like the whole family. It's like our finances, it's our career, it's our home life, establishing a good foundation. It's, the children, it's everything, right? That's kind of what that represents. Everything that we've worked so hard, to obtain or to work for is for that. But we do have here the Death card, which represents a change or a rebirth, if you will. And I actually really like seeing this here because this tells me there is a change about to happen, especially because I feel like there is a sense of frustration with this Ten of Wands in reversed, that you feel a little defeated. You feel like, nothing has happened yet. When is it ever going to be my time? When am I going to see the results that I want to see? Because, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of you have this maybe inner timeline that you've put on yourself, or that you've just been hoping would happen by. And I hate to break it to you, it's never going to happen when we want it to, like that. Sometimes, God, spirit, the universe, it just works on its own time sometimes, but it doesn't mean it's never going to happen for us. It just might not happen in the way that we intended, or that we thought that it would, right? It could be a better outcome for us in the end. And even though it might seem very frustrating and just very, exhausting, it is going to be worth it. And I do see that here for you guys. So we also do have the Seven of Pentacles. So in this deck in particular, and I do want to pull up this card if I can without messing up the rose. This is what happens when you don't have nails, guys. Oh gosh, I'm gonna rip the corner of these. Okay. Wow. Pretty sure I kind of ruined that corner. That's a bummer. But anyway, the reason why I wanted to bring this up a little bit closer is because in this deck in particular, if you notice, the woman here, she is with child. And what this card actually really represents is, it doesn't always have to necessarily meaning being pregnant, but it is planting the seeds and seeing things, grow from that. So it requires a bit of patience for sure, but knowing that it is going to be worth it. So long as you tend to your garden, you will see the fruits of your labor, right? So just know that right now, this is all about planting the seeds. This is about you, putting in either the ideas or the things that you're wanting to put in, setting into motion right now. Okay. And for those of you who are trying to have a baby, or who are trying to start a family, this is that time. This is the time to do it, but be patient as well. Just know that, obviously you set your intentions on what it is that you're wanting, but don't stress about it. Just let things happen as they will, and things will take course. Okay. Now you do also have the Empress here, which I love to see the Empress because she represents the mother, right? She represents fertility. She represents birth. She represents a new beginning as well. So for those of you who this does not have to deal with a child or a pregnancy or things like that, I do look at this as a fresh start or a new beginning for you as well. So definitely keep that in mind. Like I said, it doesn't have to be specifically for that, bringing in a child, especially if that's not where you're at right now, or if you haven't met the person that you're wanting to maybe start a family with, or maybe having a family isn't maybe something that you want. But I do get this strong sense that this idea of what you have for your life, if it hasn't happened the way that you've wanted to yet, just trust that it's coming. Okay. There is this new start. There is this new beginning here with the Death card. And then of course the Empress. But I did want to, again, be very transparent and be very specific, because I do feel like we do have, for those of you who are wanting to get pregnant and hear that news, that is for sure in here. I mean, I feel like it's very, let's just pull this one up real fast. You're being blessed here. Okay. So I do want to say that is a very big possibility here. All right. So let's go ahead and move on here. I do want to pay attention to the rest of the oracle cards here just to kind of give us a little bit more information. So we do have the archetype oracle cards here. So the ones that are in reverse, I'm going to be reading the shadow attributes because that was the way that they came out. The ones that are upright, I'm reading the light attributes as though that is how they came out when I was shuffling. And what I want you guys to focus on during these is that this could be how you're feeling right now, or what your higher self is wanting you maybe to pay attention to about yourself. Okay. So we have the artist. And the light attribute here is expressing a dimension of life that is just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. Okay. So I feel like through this card, whether you are that of an artist or you do happen to see life maybe a little bit more than just black and white, this is telling you, to again kind of look at the symbolism of what this maybe death and rebirth represents for you. Is this obviously it's not doesn't have to just be an actual birth, or it doesn't have to be an actual death, things like that. What does it mean symbolically to you, and how do you internalize that? And I feel like your higher self is really wanting you to pay attention to those things, because sometimes when we have these expectations of where we should be or what we should be doing, and we don't live up to those expectations, or it doesn't happen the way that we want it to, we get really hard on ourselves. And I think that's what that 10 of Wands is representing, especially because that's like the middle of your spread here, is saying like you just almost feel like, I don't want to say defeated, but almost just like it. Yeah, I guess I will. Like you just feel like it hasn't happened and it's not going to happen. So it's telling you not to look at it in that way, and instead look at the bigger picture, look at what, this change can actually mean for you. Maybe this is a fresh start. Maybe this is an actual rebirth. Maybe you are finally getting to be on the path that you've been wanting for so long. Maybe you will be meeting that person, again, just keep that in mind, very general. But for those of you who are wanting to have a child, I definitely see that this is something that you're leaning towards, or you're working towards here. Now, the next one that we have is the Father card. So this says, talent for creating and supporting life, positive guiding light within a tribal unit. So you can be a female and still have this father attribute. I do want to say that this is not, gender based, but what the father represents, he is that nurturing, guiding light, right? And within the family unit. And I feel like this is kind of like where you are trying to be. You're trying to guide yourself into, again, taking control over where you see your life going, and how you see it panning out or playing out. So again, if you kind of are like, okay, this needs to happen, and then this, and then that, look at, again, the bigger picture of how that actually coincides with your current reality. Is that, obviously it's not maybe happening the way that you're wanting it, and why is that? So again, looking at kind of like at all aspects here. Okay. Now, your next cards that we have the Virgin. And the shadow attribute is fear of intimate union. Okay, so for some of you, if this is having to deal with a fertility issue, or just having issues with conceiving, it can, especially if you have had, this might be a trigger warning, so I do apologize. But I, again, just want to be pretty open with this. If you have had a miscarriage before, and again, that's where, I never like to use the death card as a literal death ever. I always like to look at it as it's more of a transition, right? A rebirth. But, in this situation, this makes me think if there is a fear of intimacy, it could be in the sense of, what if this happens again? Because you maybe have experienced this multiple times or more than once. And that is a very common fear. And, obviously, talking with your partner and being open with them, and just expressing how it is that you feel during those times, and not making it again so focused on the negative, rather focusing on the positive, or just maybe not even trying so hard to make it a reality. Because again, and I'm sure many of you guys probably hear that too, like, oh, it happens when you stop trying, or when you try to force it to happen, it won't happen, things like that. So those are things just to kind of keep in the back of your mind, especially if that is the case. But if this shadow attribute is coming up, your higher self is trying to step in and let you know, like, hey, just it's okay to be fearful, but at the same time, don't allow that to hold you back, because you have so much more potential here in your future. The next one that we have is the Knight card. This shadow attribute says allegiance to a destructive ruler or principle, a romantic delusions or romantic delusions. So again, having this idea of what maybe this family looks like, or this ideal family, or how you envision yourself having this life, it just might be something that you're romanticizing, and again, doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's just something to be cautious of. Excuse me. Because I feel like for many of you, because we have this sense of feeling like it hasn't happened, you're putting almost too much pressure on yourself, and your higher self is wanting you to know, like, to lessen off of that pressure, because it will happen. It's just, you have to give yourself some time, give yourself some grace, and even nurture yourself. Like I said, that Empress card, she does represent the mother card, but she also represents that nurturing energy too, and this could be a really good time to nurture yourself through this process as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the rest of your oracle cards. So we have two cards here. These are what your higher self would like for you to surrender during this time, to help you get that much closer to your goal. And we have surrender to your soul's path. Your life's journey has been perfectly designed for your soul's growth. Embrace every lesson and every moment. Okay, so again, just kind of knowing that this is part of your journey. This doesn't mean this is where your journey ends. This is just part of it. So even though it's not going, again, ideally the way that you had envisioned it, it does not mean that your story is over. Okay. And then we have surrender frustration. Frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma or dissolving a block is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup so you may approach the situation more calmly. Okay. And I feel like that would, can definitely be easier said than done, for sure, in many situations. But that's where I feel like, your higher self is wanting you to kind of take off a little bit of that pressure that you've been putting on yourself, because then it creates that sense of frustration. So if you are able to, definitely do so. Okay. Now, the next two cards that we have are the wisdom cards. This is just basically, what is it that the situation is trying to teach you in this current moment? So we have by the book and blessed. So by the book, I feel like it's very much kind of like the energy that we've been talking about, how you have this idea of how you feel like things should go. Again, it should be going by the book. Look, we've got mother, father, baby, right? That's kind of, we just think, all right, we get married, we buy a home, and now it's time to have a family, right? So it's like, you kind of think in a linear order. And not that that's wrong, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that this is telling you it might not be the only way, okay? And there could be other ways to getting what you want. But it might not happen in the time that we're wanting it to. And then the next one that we have is blessed. And I love this for you guys, because again, this just only signifies to me that there is going to be a blessed event sooner rather than later. Which again, if this is what you've been wanting, then it's definitely coming towards you. Okay. So your last two cards that I do have for you guys, these are your self-care cards. Now, these are what your higher self wants you to do in the meantime, until you can get to your goal, kind of to help you through this difficult time. Any type of rut that you're feeling, these are some things that you can do just to kind of help with your self-care. And the first one that we have is aromatherapy. Now, I love this because if you are somebody who loves beautiful scents, then this is going to be perfect for you. I would even look into oils. I would definitely say any type of oil that you can find. I know doTERRA has like a plethora of them that you can find that are specific, that can help you, especially that can like help lift your spirits. Obviously any citrusy scents are more, like happier and, things like that. Or if you're having trouble with sleeping, you obviously can do a little bit of lavender, things like that. So anything that would just kind of help raise your vibrations and just kind of help put you in that calming, high vibe state, I think is going to be super important. So I think aromatherapy would be really beneficial. And then we have connect with crystals. Now, I know this isn't always for everybody, but personally, I love my crystals. And I find that when I find a crystal that has healing properties that are specific to what it is I'm looking for, I really connect with it. And trust me, if you are somebody that is on the spiritual side and you're looking for something to kind of help lift up your spirits or keep you more positive or things like that, trust me, there is a crystal out there for you. Definitely look into that. I would definitely recommend some rose quartz just to help with some love, not only for yourself, but overall just kind of promote that love, opening up the heart. And I'm trying to think of what else would be a good one. I know there's so many different ones that you could definitely connect with. But again, it's all about finding ones that are specific to you during this time. So definitely look into that. Let me know if you find one or you have some that you personally connect with, because I think that will be super important for you guys during your self-care. So Group 2, that was your reading. Definitely let me know down below if this resonated with you. I would love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and consider giving this a thumbs up, as it truly helps out my channel. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Honestly, I wish you guys nothing but the best. Please take care of yourself during this time, and I know only hope and pray for nothing but good things for you guys. So I will see you guys real soon, and we're going to move on to our final group. Hey, group 3. So if you selected this beautiful red rose, then this is going to be your reading. So I've gone ahead and laid out all of your cards. We're going to go ahead and start with your tarot cards here up top, and then we're going to go ahead and go through the rest of your oracle cards. So what is it that your higher self is trying to express to you guys or wanting you to know during this time? We have the moon in reversed. We have the Two of Cups in reversed. We have the Four of Swords upright. We have the Two of Swords in reversed. And then we have the Six of Wands. So group 3, we definitely have got some things to dive into. And I feel like just like the other two piles, this also too is pretty specific. I'm again trying to keep this very general because I know obviously there are multiple people watching this and it may not resonate with everyone. So sometimes when it is this specific, I'm like, I just feel like I always have to preface that. So I do apologize if you're just like, no, that's not for me. That's okay. So what I mean by all of that is that with you guys in particular, I feel like we definitely have some kind of mixed emotions kind of going on here. I feel like there tends to be a little bit of doubt. This could be some self-doubt. This could be doubt about a partner that you are in a relationship with, for those of you that are in a relationship. The reason why I say that is because you have both the Two of Cups and you have the Two of Swords in reversed. So Two of Cups in reverse typically does signify that of like a union or like a coupled. It's usually signifies that of like a, I would say like a relationship or like a coming together of a relationship. But when we have this in reverse, it means things are not in sync, or not as aligned with our partner. Something seems to be really off. And I feel like there is just a lot kind of going on. Maybe something has been revealed, like a truth has been made known to you, and it has kind of caused maybe some second guessing or some things of just to maybe reconsider. Now, the interesting thing is here, though, even though we have this Two of Cups and the Two of Swords in reversed, we don't have the Three of Swords, which to me is a very good thing in this, because this tells me that this doesn't necessarily have to mean, I would think, like an infidelity thing. I don't really get that sense. But if you have been wondering or maybe second guessing, has this person maybe been truthful about something, or you've been wondering if they have been unfaithful, I feel like, just some things have maybe not been adding up. And that's where like this sense of secrecy, and it's almost like you can't even trust your intuition right now, because that's where that moon in reverse comes in. The moon in reverse is like we're not able to tap into our intuition. We can't even listen to what our gut is trying to tell us. Our mind is so all over the place, I feel like, at this point, and even our emotions, that I feel like right now you are being very emotionally driven during this time. And it just feels, I think, a little overwhelming for many of you. And so it's like, we need to kind of take a time out or give ourselves a little bit of a break just to maybe recollect ourselves from this situation, and really figure out, like, okay, is this really what it is, or is it something more, or whatever? Because I feel like your mind's kind of all over the place. And it's interesting that you do have the Four of Swords here. This is why I said I thought it was kind of interesting that you didn't have the Three of Swords, because the Four of Swords obviously comes after the three, and the three usually indicates a heartbreak or heartache, and usually a breakup. And I'm not seeing that here. I'm not seeing a breakup here. So again, I just feel like there might be maybe a little bit of a break or a little bit of time apart, or just, yeah, you need to go, go to this room, I'm gonna go to that room, we're just gonna cool off, that kind of a thing. Because the Four of Swords represents that rest that we need after a situation. So again, this just makes me think something could have definitely happened. Something could have been brought to light here with this Two of Swords in reversed. That is, again, making you maybe second guess or just kind of look at things a little bit differently. Maybe they lied to you about something and it might seem very simple, or not, I don't want to say simple, but very silly, or just like, but it obviously it affected you. It maybe hurt your feelings. Maybe you've dealt with, people who've lied or who've been, unfaithful to you in the past, and so you have a really hard time trusting anybody. And I think you really do care about this person, but again, it's just kind of causing you to like rethink everything. And this is why it's so hard for you to really kind of focus or really listen to what your gut's trying to tell you, because again, it's just so much. But I will say the one thing that I am seeing here is that you have the Six of Wands, and I feel like this is such a positive reading. Even though we have all of this maybe going on, or this has come up, you do have the Six of Wands, which represents a sense of victory, or kind of like overcoming the situation. So regardless of what may has happened or what you may be feeling, just know that things will work themselves out in the end, whether you choose to stay or whether you choose to go. Obviously, that is always going to be up to you. Excuse me. That is always going to be 100% up to you, but just knowing that there will be a peaceful resolution at the end. Now, I do want to dive into your archetype cards, because now this kind of gives us a little bit more insight as to kind of like maybe what you're feeling, or kind of where you're at. Again, just kind of like where you're at, I guess I would say mentally, and just like how your personality is kind of being affected, or where you're at. Now, the cards that are upright, I'm reading the light attribute. The cards that are in reverse, they came out in reverse, and I'm going to be reading the shadow attributes. So the first card that we have is Detective. So the light attribute is great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. Okay. So I feel like innately that's what you have. And yeah, you might be feeling a little bit like a detective, like you're trying to, figure out what the true situation is. And again, as I mentioned, that Two of Swords in reverse, the truth has been revealed. Something has come to light here. Okay. And again, but what's interesting is with this moon being in reverse and not really being as in tune with our intuition, I feel like, again, it's kind of thrown you maybe a little bit for the loop as to like what you uncovered or what you found out. So I feel like you are somebody who is very naturally in tuned normally. But sometimes we get out of tune, and sometimes, things just become a little bit too overwhelming for us, that we kind of lose sight, or we lose focus on that. So this is telling you, reminding you that, hey, let's listen to that, because you have that capability. Now, the next card that we have is the Goddess, and the light attribute is the feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. Okay, so I feel like for many of you, again, this could be male or female. This is gender fluid. So, we obviously all have masculinity and femininity within us, but this is all about, being able to express yourself. And I feel like you are that. You are somebody who is very wise, and I think this is why you do seek out the truth. You want to be very truthful, and making sure that you know exactly what it is right. Like, you're not being fooled. Again, I feel like you're somebody who has known some hurt in the past, and that has taught you to be wiser and to be more aware, moving forward in your life. And given this situation, I feel like this person is somebody you really connect with, you really like. And so this could have maybe caused you to maybe second guess what your true feelings are, what you're where you're at emotionally, just because of whatever this truth was, or whatever it is that maybe they were not upfront with about you on, or they didn't really confide with you maybe in the beginning, because I feel like this is just something that they just weren't as forthcoming as they should have been in the beginning. And now it's like, okay, what do I do with this information now? Does this change? Like, does this fully change the way that you view things, or, or how you feel about them, or what? So this really is kind of like up to you, I feel like, at this point, just with everything that has been maybe unveiled to you. Now, the next card that we have is Don Juan, and your shadow attribute is using the power of romantic attraction for private agendas. Okay. So this could be maybe what you're feeling like this other person, or has maybe done. This is why I think you're second guessing, like, oh, are they just a fuck boy, or or girl, or whatever, like, cuz are they really who they say they are? I just feel like maybe because you might have fallen for this person maybe faster than you meant to, or whatever, and because of, again, this truth has come up, that you're really just, again, second guessing that. And then the next one that we have is Saboteur, and we have the shadow attribute induces self-destructive behavior or the desire to undermine others. Okay, so again, this could be something that, you might be doing on yourself, that if this person really is saying, who they are, and you're choosing not to believe them because you're assuming, like, in the worst in them, based on your past experiences, that could be self-destructive behavior. So that could be something that your higher self is wanting you to pay attention to. Like, we don't need to self-sabotage, but again, obviously only you will know, depending on what information has been relayed to you. If it's something that you're like, no, that's a hard no, I'm not going to deal with that. Or, maybe I shouldn't, like, trip over something like that. I should give this person a chance to really explain themselves, so it's really going to be up to you ultimately. But that's just something to consider during this time. Now, your next cards that I have for you guys are the surrender cards. These are what you should surrender during this time to help you get that much closer to achieving your goal. And the first one that we have is surrender obsessive thinking. If you're obsessing about a person or situation, turn the dilemma over to spirit. Doing so will help bring you clarity, or even solve the problem. Okay, so yeah, if this has been something that has been weighing on you, you just can't, again, stop thinking about it, because it's causing you to not even trust your intuition. It's causing you to not even trust your gut during this time, right? And so this might be a good time to just trust this over to spirit to help you through. The next one that we have is surrender comparisons with other people. Keep your eyes trained on yourself. Focus on your own strengths, attractiveness, and power. Okay. This is huge. I know this is so much easier said than done because I feel like just as a society, we innately start to do that. We compare the way we look or what we do, like our services. Like if you're in the service industry, we compare our work to others, things like that. And that's something that you should never do, because when you do that, you create self-doubt. And you end up limiting yourself. And I feel like that's what your higher self is wanting you to do during this time. Like, don't compare. And especially if this has anything to do with like your exes or things like that. Like, if you feel like this is somehow similar to that situation, don't compare. Okay. You need to focus on you and your current situation with this person. This is obviously they're somebody new, they're different, right? And you can't fully compare to what you experienced before. You have to look at this with the fresh set of eyes. Okay. So moving on to your next cards, we have, what is it that the wisdom that you're learning from this situation that your higher self wants you to know? We have a change in the wind and we have a leg up. So definitely a change in course. Knowing that this is something very different, as I mentioned before, this is a different situation. You can't sit here again, compare to what you had, and you have to look at this as something in its own entirety. Okay, so this could be maybe changing in a new direction as to maybe where this relationship's going to go, or maybe how you are going to be moving forward. Maybe this is something that is a hard no for you, and you decide, you know what, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. This isn't something that I would want to put myself in a situation in like again. So, and that is perfectly fine. That is going to be up to you, but you will be making that change and that decision for yourself. Okay. And then we have a leg up. So knowing that it's okay to ask spirit, ask your higher self for help, especially because I feel like, again, right now we're kind of all over the place, and you might just need a little bit of assistance during this time, just to kind of clear your mind, get a clearer mindset of this picture of the situation that is going on. So ask for help, talk to people, maybe talk to someone, to kind of help you through and this situation to see, is this worth it? So sometimes just getting that extra, opinion or second opinion can be super helpful during this time. All right. And then your last cards that we have, these are your self-care oracle cards. So these are something that your higher self would suggest to help you during this time as you're trying to figure things out, to kind of get you to your place of where you feel like, all right, I've got a hold on this. I feel better. Things that you can do to help you during this time. And one of them is a beauty ritual. So doing something that makes you feel good. Now, if you're not somebody who wears makeup or things like that, that's totally fine. Do you enjoy getting a pedicure? Do you enjoy getting your nails done, getting your hair done? Things like that where you are pampering yourself and you are giving yourself that love, that attention, that care that maybe you're not feeling during this time, right? And especially if this is dealing with a relationship where things are kind of just like a little rocky right now, you're a little unsure, take care of you. Okay. That is what matters most right now during this time. So even if that's just, again, going to get your hair done or maybe go get a facial, anything like that that has to do with making yourself look and feel good, do it. Okay. And then the next one that we have is a massage. Okay. So massage, I'm sure would feel amazing right now, especially if this has been something that has been weighing on you. With this situation, you feel maybe very stressed out. You're pretty emotional. Your body could be very tense and just need a break. And a good way to do that would be to give yourself, or, go get a massage, from a professional. And I guarantee you just that sense of rejuvenation, I think can help clear your mind and kind of just bring you back to center a little bit. So any of these things I think would be good just to kind of really take care of yourself in these moments. So that is all that I'm seeing for you guys, group 3. Definitely let me know down below if this resonated. I hope that, you know, you guys got some answers and that this was helpful for you. If you guys would like to see more, or you guys are, you know, enjoyed this video, please go ahead and consider giving this a thumbs up, as it truly helps out my channel. I want to thank you guys seriously so much for watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope everything works out for you, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.